edition of Singles Only Podcast. My name is Paul Farahvar. I am your host. On this episode, we have comedian and former porn star Alia Janine joins me again. This is a fun episode. You might remember her from one of the first episodes we did back, episode 43, I believe, or 49. Super fun to catch up again with Alia. She's amazing. We had a fun episode. You will enjoy this episode. She enlightens us all about things that everyone should know. One of my dear friends. If you haven't already, subscribe to the website, Paul F. Comedy. Check out my other podcast, Make Us a Mixtape with Marty DeRosa. And if you're listening to this, go watch it live. If you want to watch it on Zoom, my YouTube page is youtube.com/Paul F. Comedy. And my website, Paul F. Comedy, has my upcoming dates. I do have dates, live, real shows, as well as Zoom shows that are on there. So please check them out. If you haven't already, subscribe, review, tell your friends, message me on what you think we should be covering on these episodes, or if you have guests you want me to have on. Glad to do it, glad to consider it, glad to hear from you. And most importantly, please, 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 please check out our sponsors. Listen, you know I'm a lawyer. I talk about it often, but when I have legal questions or I have legal issues that I'm facing, I go to my friend Scott Shapiro. So if you've been injured on the job, need compensation, you might be entitled to money that you don't even know about. And that holds true for workers' compensation, personal injury, all that stuff. My friend Scott Shapiro has been helping injured workers and doing entertainment law for almost 20 years now. You need to contact him, 312-648-8800, or email him at scott@scottshapirolegal.com. He is legitimately one of the best people and best lawyers I know. If you call him, you tell him Singles Only sent you or I sent you, it's a free consultation. Granted, it's a free consultation anyway, probably, but boom, just throw my name so I can stay in business here. He is a full-service law firm. In addition to workers' compensation cases, work injuries, he handles litigation. He handles all your legal needs for entertainment law. So those of you who are entertainers out there, have legal questions, he's your guy. Again, free consultation. Don't take a chance and not get a lawyer. 312-648-8800, or check out his website, scottshapirolegal.com. Listen, I told you I had a special treat for listeners, loyal listeners of the show, Singles Only. And here it is. You heard me talk about the book Perfect Pain, which is a memoir by my friend Karam Haddad. It's an awesome book about his journey, his life journey of how he had this perfect life on paper, family, successful career, money, everything, but he had an underlying pain that he didn't address. And this book addresses that. It addresses his life in an amazing way. He had such a cool life, and he had some personal demons that he struggled with, and through therapy, he conquers that. It's a great book. I don't want to ruin it for you guys. Read it, perfectpain.com. But here's what I'm going to do. I talked to the author, Karam Haddad, and he is going to let me give away a book every week. Here's what you have to do to get a free book. Subscribe to the podcast and give us a review. Once you've given us a review, 5-star review, message me and tell me you did it, and I'm going to send you the book. One a week. We're going to do this until we run out of books. I've got 22 to give away, it sounds like. So perfectpain.com if you want to buy the book, available on Amazon and available in audiobook too. But if you are a listener of this podcast, all you got to do is review this podcast and then message me and say, hey, I reviewed it. Or if there's a way to contact you, I'll figure it out. And you're going to get a book sent to you. You don't even have to leave your house. You're going to get a free book. Once a week, I'm doing this for the book Perfect Pain by Karam Haddad. It's a great book. I want everyone to read it. I want to make this a bestseller and get the Farahvar bump, the Singles Only bump. So buy it today or give us a review and get your free copy. And when you like it, don't lend it to other people. Make them buy it too, because it supports this author and this journey. Perfect Pain, Param Parastrom. It's time for another edition of Singles Only Podcast. My name is Paul Farahvar. We have no voice of reason on this episode because we're doing it Zoom-wise, and that's just the way it goes. We have a return of a favorite human being of mine, hilarious. You might have remembered her from our first video of Singles Only, episode 47, former porn star, comedian, Alia Janine.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, you know, just living the quarantine life here.
Same.
So so you're still single?
Well, I'm single now. Yes, correct.
Right. Okay, so since we last talked to you, obviously had some sort of relationships, it sounds like, between the 3 years.
Yeah, I had one that lasted about a year.
Is that long for you?
No. I mean, I think like I don't know what is long for me when it comes to relationships. No, it was a little bit shorter. Normally when I actually like if I call someone my boyfriend, normally they're going to be like, it's a while, like, cause I don't really date, you know what I mean? Like, so if they're able to break down all of those barriers to where like, oh, you are now my boyfriend, then yeah, normally it lasts a couple of years. This one did not, and that, you know, that's okay.
Wait, so
for the best, trust me.
You said that they broke down some barriers. What are the barriers to get to that level? Like you're talking about like a traditional monogamous relationship or
well,
what?
I have a lot of avoidance attachment issues, meaning I like to just push people away. Also, like I had just graduated school, so I'm like, oh, I'm ready for a relationship now, you know, because I didn't really date anyone too seriously when I was in school because I knew that could fuck it up basically. And, you know, I have a 4.0 and all that other stuff. And I'm like, someone will fuck that up if I start dating. No, I was like, oh, I want a relationship. And this person also said that, that he wanted a relationship. And so we started dating. And then unbeknownst to me, I realized that he was still technically in a relationship with somebody else, or this person just assumed that they were in a relationship still with them, which was very toxic. And then because I'm not 100% like I'm monogamous, but I know that that a lot of men aren't, or a lot of men can't be. And I also have a sugar daddy, so it'd be like, no, you can't see other people. So like we had this deal where it's like, you know, if you're gonna sleep with other people, that's fine. Just like keep it out of sight, out of mind. Like I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to see about it. Like on social media, you know, like make sure that's nobody that we know. You know, no mutual friends or coworkers and stuff like that. And I thought that was a pretty good deal.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately for this person, he went and tried to fuck everyone that we knew.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was real bad. And then by that time I was already like in love. And like when I'm in love, all of a sudden then I have the other attachment issue where I'm like, well, now you can't get rid of me. I'm like a beaten dog that's like, oh, you can still beat me, but I'm like, you love me in some way. Yeah, no. What that relationship taught me was that that I still have some issues, because normally it's like, oh, why did I end up with a piece of shit? I haven't been with a piece of shit in years. Like even my ex in when I lived in California wasn't this big of a piece of shit. And I'm like, oh, it's because I'm a piece of shit. So
well, why are you blaming yourself for that? I don't understand.
Well, because we tend to, a lot of times people will tend to go like are attracted to people that that remind them of like their past. Like I had, you know, childhood trauma, so a lot of times attachment issues obviously stem from childhood and our childhood relationships with our parents and stuff like that. So so this person, basically I was just like, I was super attracted to him, and he was very emotionally abusive. Not he wasn't physically abusive, but I'm very used to being emotionally abused. And I'm like, oh, this is normal. This is quote unquote love. Although it's not. It's very unhealthy relationship.
Sure, that's a toxic thing.
But yeah, but fortunately now, like I see it, you know, I haven't, and I saw it, years ago with like my last serious relationship. And I made sure to not have those types of attachment issues, and make sure, like the last guy that I seriously dated, you know, was not emotionally abusive in that sense. He was just an asshole. He actually, all of my exes in the during the quarantine have contacted me. Even the one,
Of course, that's what we do.
oh my God, it was
Well,
insane.
you're by yourself and you're just start reflecting on things you don't want to talk, or you don't, I mean, they keep themselves busy so they don't have to think about themselves, at least for me. And
Yeah.
I'm not used to having all this downtime. So you start going
Well,
back and revisiting history.
well, yeah, no, I could see that. Like, like, I like being alone. Like, this was
Me too.
actually not that big of a deal for me. Like, besides, like, being able to go up, like, stage time and then, like, sex. But I finally found, like, a fuck buddy. So, like, that was taken care of. Stage time now is slowly, like, starting to come back. Like, we're
Yeah.
having rooftop shows and, like, parking lot shows and stuff like that. But yeah, like, you still have to social distance. Like, we're not out of the first wave of this pandemic, and the way we're going, we're never going to be out of it. Although New York City is actually, we've been doing our due diligence. Like, we have been kicking ass, staying in these tiny ass apartments, and the rest of the country can stay the fuck out of New York City. I'm saying bridges up until you fuckers get, not necessarily Chicago. I know you
We're
guys
good
are
too, actually. We're our
yeah. I think it's like people in like larger cities, because like we see more of it than people in, you know, the country.
Yeah, they don't believe it's. I did shows in Tulsa about a month ago, and they didn't believe they didn't do anything. They think it was fake. Like, they think they don't know anyone who has COVID, so they just are like, it's fake. But anyway. But I got to go back to some things you brought up. So let's talk about this ex guy again. Was he a comedian too, or?
Oh yeah, of course he was.
No, what are you doing? You know not to do that. Why are you dating a comedian? That's the first rule of
comedy is not, I know, don't date a comedian. Well, that was another thing too. It's like, oh, I don't date comedians. I'm like,
right.
And then, well, like I said, he broke like every boundary that I had set up. He's like, oh, you don't need that. And like, cause I like them. I was like, you're right. I don't need these. Why do I have boundaries? That's stupid. And then I'm like, oh, I know exactly why I have fucking boundaries.
Well, I mean, also whatever attachment stuff you have going on, you got to remember that 90% of comedians also have their own shit going on.
Oh yeah. Well,
and
that
it
was
creates
the
that
thing.
Toxicity. That's just it's just not, it's just certain things are good by themselves, but then when you combust them together, they're toxic. So
oh god, so bad. Well, no, he's his whole thing was that like he wanted me to help him because he's like he has self-esteem issues and really doesn't like. I'm like, oh, I have a degree. I can literally help you with all of this. Like, look at like my past like clients of strippers and how many of those fuckers I had helped become normal, quote unquote. I'm like, I can totally fix you. I love a challenge.
So what was it that he did? I guess I'm questioning is you said that he was in another relationship that he
with another comic too. There was another.
Okay, so you said that person thought that they were still in a relationship together, and he had, when you confronted him with him, did he say no, I'm not, or did he just say?
Oh yeah. With him, he was like no, and everyone else who knew this person, because this their relationship, quote unquote, has been on and off for like 5 or 6 years. Like he literally had gotten someone pregnant while they were quote unquote dating. So it's like he would literally be in full on other relationships. Because when I first met him, he was dating someone else. I didn't even know about this girl until we actually started dating. So that's how I first met him. Like and this was years ago, and he was dating like a comedy adjacent person, not a comedian. And then, so it wasn't until a couple of years. So I've known him for a couple of years. That was another thing too, is that I knew him for a couple of years. So it wasn't just someone that I just met and like just started. So like I've known.
But you met him through comedy.
Yeah. And so
that's already bad. Okay.
I know. So he was like, no, I'm not still with her. She's crazy. Like literally saying like how insane she was. But he was also like, I did find out that they were still sleeping together, and then like he was trying to like sleep with all these other people that we knew, and I was just like, if you don't want to be with, that's fine, then just say that. But it was it was very toxic.
And you created some fair bound, like you're like, hey, just don't fuck people we know, And,
Yeah.
it's like sort of monogamous, just mutual respect, which is a
Yeah.
good, healthy relation. I mean, guidelines are, at least on paper, it's a healthy relationship.
Oh, absolutely. I'm like, you do this and I do this and we'll be
Yeah.
fine. And honesty and communication. I've always noticed too that like when guys like say certain things, like his trigger words for me were like, we need trust and honesty and communication. And those three things he did none of whatsoever.
Trigger words, yeah. So,
I was
but
just like, I think those are the things that we're gonna have the hardest time with.
yeah, and he didn't, and you were monogamous for the other than your sugar daddy. Is that fair to
Yeah.
say? Okay. And
Yeah.
he
I
knew
mean,
about that.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like that's another reason why like I don't really get into serious relationships, especially because like I still want to go get my PhD and that's like another 4 or 5 years. So trying to start like a healthy relationship with somebody when I have that, it can be difficult depending on the person. Unfortunately, like a lot of the people that I like or would like to date, are not cool with that. That's why like I
Right.
end up dating comedians because they understand that it's just work and, stuff like that.
It's
But
crazy
I know
hours.
I've been technically like, I haven't slept with that many comedians, but at the first comic I ever slept with, I was 19. So I was just like, it's like my dating pool.
Wait a minute. When you were 19, you were still in
I
porn.
was still in Wisconsin. No,
Oh,
I didn't.
before porn.
No, yeah, way before porn.
Okay.
Yeah, before porn, before comedy, before I went to school to be a cop. 19, I was a
So
cocktail waitress, bartender
in Wisconsin?
in Milwaukee. Yeah.
Oh no. And then Bill Cosby, you saw Bill Cosby and you're like, hey,
I was
no.
like, dude, yeah, the older the better.
So as far as your sugar daddy, is this someone that you've had for years, or is this like a new sugar daddy situation? Same sugar daddy?
It's going on 9 years, yo.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a
That's
long time.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I hit the sugar daddy lottery, I guess. I have no idea. I mean, I
Okay.
like him. I love him. I'm not necessarily in love with him,
Right.
but
It's a
he's helped.
mutual respect.
Yeah, yeah. No, he's great. Big fan. He's been quarantined, which is a good thing. I'm like, yeah, you can't die or I'm fucked. Like, yeah, you stay in there. Like we've had like social distance visiting and stuff like that, like
Okay.
walks in the park kind of thing. But yeah, that's about all we could do. So
So you're not going to date comedians again, right? I mean, tell me you've learned I mean, I just don't understand like how you could still, I mean, you
I
could
would
fuck
like,
them, but
yeah, yeah, dating. I would love to not do anything with comedians besides work with them. But unfortunately, when those are the only people that you're around,
yeah.
you just
Comedy
end up,
adjacent. You could do comedy adjacent.
yeah,
What about
yeah. There's a
musicians?
couple. Oh God, those are worse than fucking comedians, Paul.
Why do you say that?
I've already had my musician phase in the 20s, like a goddamn adult.
Okay,
me.
but that's like that was a different style of music and a different lifestyle. The musicians from that era are different than the musicians that are, singer-songwriters at like coffee shops or whatever. I don't know. I mean, the reason why I tell comedians to date musicians is because they understand the hustle, they understand like the creativity, they have similar hours, and then
like
you don't have to,
artists.
yeah, artists or some sort of non-stand-up related. You just can't do that. They never work. I mean, sure,
I mean,
everyone's like,
there's a bunch of like comedy couples that
yeah,
actually
of course.
work out really well. Like that's like not a goal. Be like, I need to find a comedy partner. No, that's not that is not it. But yeah, no, I've just decided to not date for another couple of years.
Well, what do you even need to date for, right? You like to be alone. You're busy with school and comedy, and you have a sugar daddy, and you have a fuck buddy. What else do you need?
I don't know. Nothing right now. Like I'm content right now. Like I did think that maybe like a different level of intimacy and like more of a connection. And I'm getting old. Like I'm going to be 42 this year. I'm like, do I need to find like a life partner now? but that's also like my body is also saying like, bitch, you need to have a baby. So a lot of it is, I think, like that biological. So like, you're running out of time to do this stuff, and
Yeah.
like, so
Do you
I'm
want to have a
fighting all of
baby?
it. God, no.
So then,
Mm-mm.
yeah, what's the point of getting married? I mean, people that
Well,
get
it's not
married.
necessarily married. Like, I don't need to get married, but I would
Okay.
like to have like a partner at some point in time.
Do it after you get your PhD.
Yeah, well, that's the way it's fucking looking. So.
I feel like when you get to that level of PhD stuff, you're gonna be in classes or stuff around surrounding people who
Yeah.
are, and you're gonna
Ooh, man.
change too. You're probably gonna be done at that point with wanting like the pseudo open relationship or whatever.
Yeah.
You're not gonna need a sugar daddy at that point.
Yeah. Well, I'm also trying to win the lottery too, so we'll see how well that goes.
I think it's a lot easier to find uh, uh, a deeper relationship, whatever that means, than it is
Then
to win the
fine.
lottery. Yeah.
Or win the lottery. Yeah. Both actually, probably.
What about, like you said, musicians? So you're not going to date another musician.
No, no.
What?
Definitely no more artists, I think. I think there can only be one artist in the relationship, and I am that person. So I need someone more grounded, I think, like with an office, like a 9 to 5 job. Because without structure, I am a monster, especially during this quarantine. I have done a ridiculous amount of drugs, Paul.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So much, so many mushrooms, like a lot of mushrooms. I don't even know if I'm here right now, to be honest.
By yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Microdosing. Oh yeah, I do
Yeah.
all drugs by myself because I'm a true fucking drug addict.
Well, I don't think mushrooms and pot
Yeah,
constitute.
the addict thing. No, I did start drinking at home though, which I normally don't do. And people are like, "You don't drink at home?" And I'm like, "No, I'm from Wisconsin. If you do that, that means you have a problem when you're."
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I never have to leave my apartment ever.
Yeah. Yeah, quarantine changes a bunch of things in terms of what you drink and or what you do in terms of uh, mental health and drug use. I can relate to
Yeah.
that. I started chewing tobacco during quarantine just to.
What?
I know.
Oh, oh, I mean, well,
I
you
used to
were
do it when
kind
I
of
was
a
younger.
smoker.
Yeah.
Did you ever smoke cigarettes? I don't remember
Yeah,
you
I
smoking
smoked in the
cigarettes.
90s. I quit in like 99 after law school, after when I started becoming a lawyer, but I stopped. But
That's when you quit. I tried chewing in high school. I remember because like I was a cheerleader and the football players because we would
yeah.
come in, a couple of the cheerleaders would come out of the bathroom just reeking like a bonfire, and they just threw us a fucking tin of Skull to be like,
Oh
here, you
yeah.
fucking morons. Be like, this way you could do it in school and not get caught. And I was like, yeah, but oh my God, that shit would make me so nauseous.
Yeah. Well, that's dip is up here. I actually do like the chew, the red man, like the
Oh yeah.
baseball players. Yeah.
Like the super stringy tobacco.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That stuff is actually, I would think, be better because you do
Yeah.
actually chew it. Like you literally chew on it.
You
So
control the levels of intensity that you
yeah,
get from the
uh,
chaw.
unlike school or just
Skull
like
just
you have
hits
to.
you, or Copenhagen or whatever, Kodiak.
Yeah,
I did
but
those in high school. Yeah.
they had I really like they had the little bandits, which was like it came in
Skull
a little
bandits. Yeah. Pouches.
yeah, and then that way it wouldn't get all in your teeth and stuff.
That's Wisconsin life for sure. So. But
Absolutely.
so you say you want to date office people, but you would never see each other. There's hours never coincide. If someone has a regular 9 to 5 job,
Yeah.
I assume you're sleeping past 9 o'clock in the mornings when you have shows and stuff. Or you still wake up early?
Well, I have for the past 2 days, I actually went to bed before 4 a.m. So
Okay.
thank you very much for that. And I've been waking up at well, even when I did perform, like my wake up time was always between like 9:30,
Oh, okay.
10:30, because I have a dog. So like I'm kind of like on her schedule when it comes with that stuff. But yeah, like you don't need to see each other all of the time, right?
Well, so the next guy, not now, but in
Or a
3 years,
girl. It could be a
or
girl
a girl.
too. Yeah.
Have you had a long-term relationship with a girl?
Not since I was younger, since my 20s.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, for some reason, I never had a lot of like solid relationships with women. They've always been more flings, I guess, if
Yeah.
anything.
Well, what are the things that draw you to a person, whether it's a man or a woman, that you're like, okay, I'm attracted to, whether it's a physicality or something that you need to click.
Uh,
Is it
well,
always physical
normally,
right away?
no, no, definitely not. I mean, yeah, obviously there needs to be some physical attraction, but a lot of times it can be personality. Main thing is personality. Also, if they just could deal with me,
Yeah.
if they can handle me, I'd be like, all right, well maybe I'll keep you around for a little while. But then I like to test people too, to be like, oh, you think you like me, do you? Well, let me see if we can fix that for you.
Um, have there been situations where you like are dating people that you think is exactly what you want, and then all of a sudden they're like, what are the deal breakers where you're like, okay, I can't do this. I keep finding a pattern. Do you find a pattern of guys who are or girls who are like, this is toxic?
Yeah, well, normally the women tend to be just as crazy as I am, so that I'm like, I can't deal with that.
What makes
Uh,
them crazy? What's
I'm
crazy
just
to you?
kidding. I'm
Well,
kidding.
what's the
No,
term?
like over like a couple of the women that I dated were like really jealous if I talked to other women.
Okay.
Like they were always like very insecure.
Okay.
The few women that I did date were always very insecure, and that drove me nuts. So yeah, so that normally did that. Like because they would do shit that like I have done to do. I've never done it to women. I don't know why I've never done it to a woman, but like if I said I was going to one place, and this is like before cell phones, really, at least with this one particular relationship, would be like, oh, I'm gonna go to this bar, and then like we went to that bar and it was shit, so we just ended up going to another bar. But then my girlfriend at the time like showed up at that bar and realized that like me and my friends weren't there, and then like just freaked out. I was just like, one, you weren't invited to come with us in the first place.
Right.
And we just switched bars, not like trying to avoid you kind of thing. But now it's absolutely to fucking avoid you.
Have you encountered any situations with men or women who were like your fans of comedy or porn where they're just like they're
No, I
just
don't date fans.
well, what about have you found out that you were dating someone and then they ended up being fans, or
No, that's pretty easy to tell right away if
how's
they.
that? How do you know that?
Well, because they'll know things, they'll
Okay.
make like they'll say something. A lot of times too, like they'll be honest, be like they'll say because they think that that's something that I want to hear. Be like, oh, I'm such a big fan of this, or like I had one dude actually tell me that he was a fan of me, like when we first like it was the first time we slept together. I'm like instantly like my pussy was dry. I'm like, yeah, this is the wrong way to tell me that
Yeah.
because he's followed me on social media, like that I don't date or fuck fans. And now just because we have a personal relationship doesn't
Yeah.
change the fact that you're a fan. So now what you did was just lie and manipulate me into bed. And now I'm like, yeah, I ended up kicking him out of the apartment and everything.
What is it that bothers you about someone that like is a fan?
Uh, well,
Or
because
is
they
there
cheated
levels
because
of
they've already.
fans? Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, people like if I met somebody, and then they hear I was in porn and then they checked it out because just out of curiosity or something like that. Like I get that. But yeah, if they were a full on fan that was like has been watching me, it's like, no, you're a fan.
Yeah.
Like especially with porn, like you see me with a dick in my mouth and you already think that we have some type of relationship.
Right.
And we don't because I don't know who the fuck you are. You see me on social media, you see all this stuff, and you think that you know me. And half the shit I post on social media isn't even close to who I really am. You
Right.
know what
Right.
I mean? So like everyone they're like, you post a lot of subtweets. I'm like, I'm subtweeting my goddamn self. Like I'm
Yeah.
not subtweeting anyone but myself. I'm like, I'm the one who needs to get her shit together.
Right.
These are just little notes for me to pay attention to what the fuck I am doing in my own behavior. Everyone else needs to worry about their own fucking behavior. I'm worried about mine.
So if they're like a fan, I get that, and you said you're okay with like if they look you up afterwards, like okay, that's obviously acceptable. What if they're like,
Yeah.
oh, they're familiar with you, but they didn't know who you were when they met you, and then they're like, oh yeah, I've seen your work. That's okay. They're not like a
Yeah,
super.
well, yeah, like it also depends on the person. If I'm attracted to
Sure.
them and like how, yeah, like a
Yeah,
trust
of
thing. There's
course.
definitely like a trust thing, and honestly, it's by individual person because
Yeah.
every person is different. So I'm not just gonna lump all of them together. But yeah, there's for the most part, it's a no go for me.
What about comedy? What if they're a fan of your comedy? The same thing?
Oh, then absolutely not. Even more so.
Yeah. I mean, do you still get after you do sets? I know it's been a while since we've had shows, but do you still people still come up after you trying to like get your number and get your information? Does it still happen or do people
um,
know not to?
no, no. I mean, a lot of times, well, the last couple performances that I had, people just they come up and be like, "Oh, you did a good job," because like I don't do porn jokes all the time. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like I have, so a lot of times they don't. They just think I'm a comic. Like they had no idea that I was born. Every once in a while, it'd be like, "Oh, I know," because they heard me on a podcast, or you know, they'd be like, "Oh, you're the porn star comedian," or you know, something like that. But no, for the most part, um, a lot of dudes in audiences, they'll say be like, "Oh, you did great," or whatever, or they'll be like, "Oh, I loved your cream pie joke," or something like that. But yeah, a lot of times, like it's a lot different. Like female comedy fans will totally try to hit on male comics, but like dudes never really hit on female comics because dudes don't like it when women are funnier than them.
Yeah. No,
So
we've
yeah.
talked about that. I think it happens. Yeah, you're right. I think it happens more with dudes than
Yeah.
being approached. But
I
yeah.
mean, I've had women come up and like hit on me. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's definitely more women hit on comics after a show
Correct.
than
Right,
men.
right, and have you had guys that are like intimidated by you, whether it's your comedy or your porn, where you're like,
Oh my
you,
God, absolutely.
I mean, I mean, realistically, that's got to be intimidating for a guy, at least for a guy, I can understand the comedy aspect of having
Yeah,
a woman funnier than you, especially if
yeah,
you're not a comic and you're on stage, so that they're intimidated to approach you. But let's say they had the
yeah.
balls to do it, then they find out you were a porn star.
Oh yeah, then it's
Uh,
just a bunch of stuff.
how do you address that with those guys? Like, are you just like, hey, listen, relax, or how do you?
Oh, if they don't have the self-esteem or courage, then I probably won't even acknowledge them. Like, no.
What if they have the self-esteem, but they just don't have the physical uh, abilities, so to
What do
speak?
you mean? The
Well, I mean,
physical.
like they have a small dick, or they're just not good in bed. I don't know. How do you?
Well, then who's the no?
Well, I mean, you got to understand. It's got to. I mean, I would think it'd be intimidating. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of what.
Well, yeah, okay.
How do you
So,
coach? How do you coach them through that? Like,
there's been like one or two that have been like real, like where they were so nervous that they couldn't even get it up. And I'm like, okay, you are not mentally mature enough,
right,
emotionally mature enough to sleep with me then because you're still thinking about porn and you're a fucking moron. So
right,
yeah, no, I literally have kicked guys like that out of bed. Um, they have to be fucking men, basically.
yeah,
Like, don't be a pussy little bitch.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, there's been a couple, and they're like, yeah, I understand. And this is just men in general, not necessarily even just me being in porn or being in
yeah.
comedy, but sometimes guys really like a girl and like they get really excited and may only last like 30 seconds. And that happens too. And that like I like that. I'm just like, okay, I get it. Like we'll just wait, 5-10 minutes and then we'll go again. And
Five,
most of
ten
the time
minutes. How old are these guys? 5, 10 minutes. You mean
it
like
depends on the
40,
person.
40 to 60 minutes, right? You meant 2 days, right? Come on. How old are these? Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Paul. No.
Do you have like an age gap for dudes that you're dating in terms of like you won't date certain age or
I tend to normally date guys that are a little bit older just for maturity reasons.
sure.
Obviously, I try not to date older than like I think 6 years is a good is a good like age
Sure.
difference. I normally like I'll fuck around with younger guys, but that's like I don't date younger guys. And most of like that's like my fan genre is like that's all those fucking 20-something-year-olds. So no, like the last dude I dated, that was another thing. He was fucking like 14 years older than me. I'm like, he's
Okay.
emotionally mature. I was he was not, not at all.
Do you
But
do you do any of the apps or anything? Like, have you? Okay.
no, I've tried like I've been on Tinder, like I've been on them a couple of times. Like the first time I signed up for Tinder, I was gonna have like two accounts. I was gonna have like porn star Alia account and then like regular Alia account and just see like the difference in messaging and stuff like that. But someone found out who I was within like the first hour of me being on Tinder. So I was like, all right, well that experiment's over. So yeah, a lot of times that I have been on the apps, like people have
Yeah.
known who I am within like a day or two, and I'm like, all right, well that was that. So I'm old fashioned. I want to meet people in person. That's just the way it's got to be for me.
Well, that's what every woman says, but then there's so many women that are so mean to guys when they have the balls to go up to a woman at a bar. Like, I mean, it's just
Well, yeah, because a lot of guys going up to women, they're going up to women way out of their fucking leagues.
okay.
And like I've had dudes at the Grizzly Pear come up to me and like do things like try to put their arm around me when I don't know who this person is. It's like, why are you fucking touching me? So
Yeah.
it's like they're starting off right away just completely wrong. Like if you know how to hit on a woman in a bar, there's going to be more chances that I'm at least going to acknowledge your existence. But because like you have to understand too, like I grew up in bars and
Right.
stuff. So like for
In
me,
Wisconsin, there's a bar in every corner.
it's literally on every corner. So I was just raised like I just see things differently. And yes, the guys have been able to pick me up from bars. It's not as hard as I'm making it sound. You just have to have some game. And unfortunately, a lot of dudes, especially younger ones, are stupid. So
Well, then you got to
like
tell
I
them.
told dudes, yeah, I literally tell them like, no, the way, and I'll even tell them, I'm like, the way you approached me was wrong. I'm like, this is how you do it. I'm like, go try it on somebody else now. You know?
Well, I mean, back in the day, that's the only way I met people, women at bars, was to just go up to. I mean, every girlfriend I had, I met at a bar with
Yeah.
me saying something stupid, come up, not disrespectful, but just being like
Yeah.
trying to be funny. But I tried to do that recently, and not even hitting on people, but just I was out with my friends who are all married. We're just like, let's just talk to people, meet new people. We're done. We already caught up, and these women, like, we weren't like disrespectful. They're just like, we're just trying to have a conversation between us. Like, please leave us alone. I'm like, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't.
Well,
I
I've
wasn't
had
being
that
mean.
happen too. Like,
Yeah.
I'll be like, me and my girl, like, we were in a deep conversation. Like, you could
Right.
tell that we were in a deep conversation, and this dude just comes up. It's like, hey, excuse me. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's the thing, is that dudes think that they could come up to women whenever the fuck they want and just talk. So if you see a group of women and they're talking amongst themselves, leave them the fuck alone, because they want to talk amongst themselves. You'll see a group of women, if they want dudes to come up to them, they will be looking around for dudes to make eye contact with.
Yeah.
A lot of times, some girls, I know this may be weird, guys, but they just want to hang out with the girls and not be fucking hit on. They just want to get drunk and do fucking chick shit while you guys are just thinking about where you want to stick your dick for the night.
Right. And that's social cues too. Like, look, if girls are like having an in-depth conversation, you don't go up there. I get that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and you got to tell, but at the same time, as you said earlier, you can't be a pussy little bitch. So.
Yes. Don't be a pussy
Find that
bitch.
line.
It's a very thin line.
Well, Alia, it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
I miss you so much.
I know. I'm glad that we've been talking over the quarantine, so it's been fun to see your face and see you're doing well.
Same.
And where can people find out more about you and your social media
stuff?
Oh, God.
Yeah. So they don't really, I mean, you may find me on a rooftop somewhere in fucking Brooklyn this summer. So that's probably about it. You can follow me on social media, the Alia Janine on Twitter, Alia.Janine on Instagram. And I have a website where you can find out where I normally have my schedule and like my bio and stuff, aliajanine.com.
Thank you so much, Alia. I really, really appreciate you coming back on. We'll have to have you back on in 2 years and see what's what else has changed? Well, hopefully the podcast will be done by then. I didn't think this would be. We're over 200 episodes now. I'm like, why the
That's
fuck?
awesome, though.
Yeah, we'll see. But
Okay.
I don't know. Well, thank you so much, Alia. And thank you all for watching and listening to another edition of Singles Only Podcast. I'm Paul Farahvar. Have a good one.
I'm still standing.